Hello friends, it's your brother Hampton, and I made this video for people who are ambitious and want to make their own way in the world, probably do some great things, and are not sure how to get started. So if that's you or someone you know, then either watch this or send this to them. And I wasn't entirely sure how to title this, because there's a lot of different people that fall under this broad category. Some people are interested in money, some people they want to help people and do charity and nonprofit. All of this will still apply, so if you watch this and apply it to yourself, then I hope it can help. So I do online business, right? So I do content creation, I sell some items, I do some e-commerce, I am in software a little bit. But I think people who do that, there's a lot of people like me, they kind of lose a little bit of touch with how it was when they're starting out, because a lot of questions that I had back then, they were answered as I went along. And I want to try to imagine what it was like back then, because I get asked these questions and there's a lot of misconceptions about how to get started, what's actually possible, and what you can or shouldn't do. Because part of the title that I'm adding is how to do all this stuff while not selling your soul or being evil. You don't want to trade your morals for trying to get ahead in the world, and that's one thing. It's like you don't have to do bad things in order to get ahead in this context. That's something that I have found to be true. So I'm gonna give 3 things. They could be any number of different things, but I chose these 3 because this is what I would give to someone who's asking. The first thing that you may want to do is to start developing a skill that you can then exchange for money. This is often what people are doing in their late teens, either through formal education, which would be like college, technical school, maybe some certification programs, which is what some certified personal trainers do, things like that, or informal skills, which can still be very valuable, like if you want to go into software engineering and you learn to code, if you want to design websites, if you want to design apps, that's a big thing. Those things don't necessarily, depending on how you want to do it, require a degree, but you can still exchange that skill for a lot of money if you're good at it. Now, ideally, you would like this to be a valuable skill, and you should be able to explain or understand why someone would trade their hard-earned money for it. Even if you're working for a fairly large company, someone's trading their money for it. Why someone would want to pay it, especially if you're getting paid a lot. You want to understand what is it about the skill that makes someone want to pay a lot of money for it. Like what makes it worth that? And I feel like this is a valuable skill for anyone to understand, but not everyone quite does why that value is what it is. And I remember in school when I was going, I went to college, right? So I got a degree, and I don't work in that degree, but I got a degree. And there was this opening internship that was like $90,000 or something. That was very notable. A lot of people were competing for this. And when they were applying, and through that process, looking back, I really think the professors should have explained, like, this is very highly paid, but why is it such a highly paid position? Is it just because the company is nice and wants to give you a lot of money? What is so valuable about the skills that the person they will hire will have? What makes it worth that much to that company? Why do they think they can make more from it? And from this, you can start to understand that the more urgently someone wants something solved, the more painful it is for them, like a very metaphorical pain. Like if you don't like the color of your house, that could be a pain point, not causing you literal pain, but you don't really like it. You don't like it, you really dislike it, that's a heavy pain point for you. The heavier that pain point is, and the harder that problem is to solve, and the less willing sometimes people are to do it, usually those factors will drive how much they're willing to pay for it. So something that's very easy that a lot of people want to do, that you can learn to do right away, those usually have a lot of people competing for it, and those are usually limited in amount, and oftentimes the pay will go down over time because they'll need more people and they'll lower the amount that they're willing to pay. And a lot of people are saying, well, I don't need $70,000, I'll do it for 60, I'll do it for 50, right? Things like that. Sometimes that'll drive down the price. So if you're building for the future, you generally want something that's a little bit harder for other people to do. Ideally, it's something that's easier for you, or you just like it so much that you're willing to do it longer and more than other people that others may not like as much or might be harder for them. That's a good thing for you to look into, especially if you like it. However, I understand that comes with some controversies. So there's a lot of discussion around jobs in the world, and so a couple things. Your worth, people will mention, is you're worth more than what a company is willing to trade you for your time and your skill. 100% agreed. You're worth more than your job in terms of dollar amount. 100%, you have value as a human. I agree with that. But this is a business channel and we're talking about how to make money. That's why I'm using the terminology that I am using. And also, the value of people and their skills oftentimes in the world is falsely misappraised. So some people are paid less or much less than they should be. And 100%, that is also wrong. I'm not saying that if you're being paid less, that means you're worth less. I'm saying that if you if you're ambitious, and depending on how I title it, could be young and ambitious, and you want to make some money, it really helps if you look at it from that frame of mind. Not because everyone's always accurately paid and accurately assessed, but because there's this idea of people who are hungry and they want to get started, and they look online and they think all these, like, well, there's dropshipping and affiliate marketing and all these, like, I can get started buying apartments and flipping them. I get all of that. But the reason I bring up value is because there's a lot of things that not necessarily wrong, but they're way harder than they might appear to someone trying to sell you that course. And it's very easy to get misled, especially when you're open-minded, because if you're closed-minded, you might think, I can't do it. But if you're open-minded, you're like, I can do all of these things. And some of them are a little bit misleading. So whatever you pick, you should understand why that's valuable to other people, because sometimes hacks do exist. Sometimes, like this great dropshipping hack, people are like, oh, if you do this, then you buy this, and you can sell it for this. Those sometimes exist. And sometimes some people spend their lives finding those small little moments in time and chasing them. But if they're not actually providing value for people, if it's something they can get cheaper, better, or more enjoyable from somewhere else, they usually will change. And if you spend your life just changing that, it can seem very exhausting. So I say that as a way for people to choose the skills they develop, not saying that it encompasses what you're worth as a human. I mention this because I know it's a very hot topic for some people. It's a very important topic for some people, understandably so. But I say this because I want people to choose the right skills to develop. You want to think and go and aim with the idea of bringing value and helping others. That will help you choose things and turn away from things like, honestly, dropshipping and some affiliate marketing and some blogs you can set up. Some of those things can work, but like, you want to think about what value are you bringing to other people. And if the answer and you're not sure about, and you ask other people and you can't get the answer, maybe try something else to where you know you're actually helping other people. And if it's something that you're good at, that they're not good at, and you're willing to do, and they're not willing to do, and you're willing to spend the time, and they're not willing to spend the time, then that is where you can start. Develop those skills. Secondly, you want to learn to market, right? So this is more often applied if you are starting your own business, building your own product, and proceeding down that path. But it also is important if you're working for someone else, because you're marketing yourself, essentially. So similar to the previous point where you have to understand, where I recommend that you understand the value that you're providing for others, I would say a good description or goal for marketing in this context is you should be able to relay that value to other people. So you can understand how it's valuable, how that skill is valuable, how that benefits other people. And then you should be able to convince and relay that information to other people to where they also understand why that's valuable. Let's say that you are very good at power washing. It's like, man, I am the best power washer in the county, right? In this part of the state, in this part in my province, I am the best power washer. I have the best equipment. My dad and his dad and his dad and his dad and his mother did it. Did they have power washers back then? She cleaned windows or something, right? They were very good at this. It's been running in my family for generations. That was a skill I developed since I was 3. I am very good at this. But if people don't understand what power washing does, or they don't understand, well, why can't I just use a hose? Then you may not be able to market that, right? Now, the good news is if you're very good, then word of mouth will help you market. People will tell others about your product, and you won't really, about your skill, about your service, and you won't necessarily have to market yourself as much. Word of mouth is very popular, very powerful, and social media marketing is big. In my opinion, social media marketing is just word of mouth at scale, meaning big, meaning that you can, instead of like one person telling one person in your town, like 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 1 million people can see something and then tell 1 million other people, and then it really grows very quickly. That's at scale. Social media marketing is word of mouth at scale. And this also kind of covers like being able to use social media to market yourself, being able to tell other people, being able to set things up, which isn't quite part of marketing, but it's important to be able to express your marketing. If you're not sure how to make an Instagram account and you think your service could use an Instagram account, then that's another skill that you should learn. You should learn how to apply all of these things and communicate your marketing after you've developed your skills or while you're developing your skills. So building a skill, learning to market, and the third one that I think is very important for people who are watching this type of video, the type of person to click this type of video and think, this is for me. I want Hampton's help on how I can build this for myself. So it really depends. And that's why I hesitated a little bit. I took a couple different takes of this video because I realized as I make the video that it can apply to many different people. There's some people that are going through school. They want to do something in finance, right? But they're not sure how to not sure how the job sphere works. Like maybe it's like, are people hiring right now? So they're not sure. And some people, they're like, well, I make the best baskets in the world. I weave them and I want to sell them to other people. And I want to know how to set up an Etsy, a Shopify. So all these things you're able to Google. But the type of person that watches this, I think a very valuable skill that I would impart, that I would want to give them, or I want them to develop for themselves more accurately, is the ability to work hard. Be willing to work hard, in my opinion. This, once again, is kind of controversial. It kind of goes in the face of what people hear nowadays, where like you want to balance, you don't want to burn out, you want to watch your mental health, you want to take days off. I agree with all those things. Mental health, very important. You don't want to burn out. If you're burning out, you're not working, right? And once again, working towards your goal, not necessarily working for other people. Your goal could just be to walk every day, right? But if you're burnt out on walking, then you're not walking, right? So like you're not making progress towards your thing. And you want to be healthy, you want to be happy, you want to be fulfilled. I get all of that. But one advantage, if you're hungry, you're ambitious, and you want to succeed, then usually hard work is part of that equation, right? There is a major advantage, especially when you're starting off, especially if you didn't start with the advantages. If you want to get ahead of other people, you usually have to work harder than other people. The good news is, for a lot of this stuff, if you're watching this and you're putting in the effort, you're probably already ahead of most people, right? And it's funny because I have to explain this sometimes because it makes sense intuitively in my head, but I can't always put it into words. Most people aren't that great at any given thing. So, because they're good, they might be good at other things. So let's say swimming, right? It's like you take the 100 people that are closest to you just by like physical location. You find 100 people, they're teleported to a swimming pool, that's a swim. First of all, a lot of them couldn't swim, right? And then some people, they can swim somewhat. Some people can swim very well, but a lot of them, they might not even be able to swim. Now you compare that to someone on the high school swim team, and most likely if just an average 100 people, if you're not near a beach or anything, if you're somewhere in the Midwest like I am, then they can swim quite far, right? They can swim very fast, and they put in that 100, 200, 300 hours of effort, and they can do much better than just the average person that teleported there. My point is that just showing up and doing the work and being dedicated and being focused and being passionate about it already puts you ahead of a lot of people. And I say that to try to soothe you, right? So like having that, you're already working hard. If you're watching videos on how to build, right, that's probably already more than what some people will do. Now you have to apply, because a lot of people watch videos, but they don't apply. Learning to market someone, it's like, like maybe I can learn to Google how to set this up, and maybe I can get somewhat good at making videos or posting blog articles or podcasts or some way to market my service, or maybe the content is the service if you're a content creator, and building my skills instead of just going for the skill that takes 10 hours to learn or 6 months to learn. I'm gonna find something that I'm talented at and took me 5, 10 years to develop, and I wanna use that skill. That's a big thing. So the higher the barrier entry is relative to other people, usually the more valuable it is. And if you spend that much time, then you are really looking at a whale of an opportunity, depending on what it is, depending on how much other people want it. If you get started and you work hard, you work intelligently, then you are usually already ahead of most people. Now, to use the swimming example, one of those swimmers might be a math genius. So you can, congratulations on being able to swim faster than this person. This person can calculate infinity, or whatever the upper echelon of math is. They understand all the signs that most of us don't understand, right? So now in a math competition, that person would win. So when I say most people are bad at any given thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that people suck and we should, look down on them. Which means we're different at different things. But in any given field, it usually isn't that hard. If you like that field, if you like it, then it's not that hard, doesn't take that much effort for you to be relative to others in the upper echelon. To summarize, number one, focus on developing a skill that is valuable to others. It doesn't necessarily determine your value as a person, but being able to have that is your foundation. Because if let's say you have something that saves someone $500,000 a year, then theoretically you're worth at least that to them. And if they're ever like, no, I'm not gonna pay you for that, right? Then you can say, oh, but I had this very valuable skill, and if you don't want to pay me for it, I get it. I'll just go work for this person, or I'll work for your competitor. And they're like, wait, right? So that understanding of like you having that bargaining chip, and it's not just them, because some people, I think, even going into school and when they're getting started, and before they fully understand their job, there's this idea that people are giving them money. Not like a low self-esteem way, but they don't quite understand why what they're doing is worth as much as it is. You have to understand the value of what you're providing. This really helps if you're young and you're ambitious and you want to make money and you want to make your way in the world and you want to do great things, perhaps. Second, learn to market is very important, especially if you want to scale. But even if you want to work for someone else and just be part of their group and everything, learning to market can really help. So if not learning to market your own service, your own product, learn to market yourself, learn to communicate and being able to express why something is valuable, the value that you can provide for other people, that can be very important. And third, just be willing to work harder than other people, and that will help you get ahead if your goal is to get ahead. I don't mean burnout. I don't mean destroying your mental health. I don't mean making something to where it's no longer fun and you're just drudging through based on sheer discipline. I just mean spending a little bit extra time, more than a lot of people would. That's really the majority of what we want to see. Your favorite TV shows are made by people who like making TV shows more than other people. Your plumber presumably worked harder at plumbing than other people who, especially if they're not plumbers, they've worked hard at plumbing. The person editing this video, thank you Ulysses, my editor Ulysses, he's working harder on editing than most people would. A lot of people look at it and be like, wow, that's a lot of buttons. I don't want to mess with any of that. And that's why he works as a video editor, to help people do that. I used to edit my own videos. It was a lot of fun, but Ulysses works very hard. My point is that hard work doesn't have to come at the cost of our mental health or our health in general, or spending time with family and loved ones. And a lot of the things that we want to receive, that if we're on the other end, if we're paying someone, that's usually what we want to see, right? So you want someone who's skilled at what they do, that knows how to communicate that to you and works hard or has worked hard and is willing to work hard in the future at what they do. And after, this is quite important, I'm gonna grab my tea here, and after you get cruising, some people misunderstand this, after you get going, then you have the option of slowing down or choosing different paths if you like. There are some entrepreneurs and business people, whether, once again, formally educated or informally educated, whichever path you go, working for someone else or starting your own business, starting your own project. There are some people after they've obtained whatever they consider to be success, either making the average wage, doing what you love, or making six figures, or just helping 1 million people. After they do that, they sometimes double down on it. They're like, hey, yeah, I don't want to just make this. I want to make $1 million a year. I want to make $10 million a year. That makes it sound kind of greedy, but it's like, I want to build a bigger thing. I want to build a company. I want to employ 1,000 people instead of 10 people. They keep going with that. And then when you do that, there is going to be a point where you may have to choose whether to focus on friends and family or that. And that's not necessarily a clear choice, because some of your friends and family, especially if they're similarly minded, they are also working hard towards their thing. And like your version of friendship is hanging out once a month, talking over drinks or playing pool or getting lunch. And that's the choice of doubling down if you really enjoy what you're doing or you really want to keep doing it, and you just keep growing your effort and everything keeps going up from there. And some people, after they've obtained their version of success or they get started, they take more of a backseat. Right, so a lot of content creators do this, whether intentionally or not. They spend a lot of time getting started making content, but after they've developed a certain amount of subscribers, followers, and their business is set up a little bit, sometimes they take a little bit more of a backseat. Like, I only need to make one video every week, every 2 weeks or so, and I'll spend time making it good. But I enjoy doing that, and I'll do that, and that keeps everything going, and I make a comfortable living from that. Not me in particular, but some people think that. A lot of game people do that. And that does come with a downside of, if you're not growing, someone might be overtaking you, or like stuff could be happening. So you have to be somewhat proactive with that, but not necessarily as much as if you're trying to grow, and going down, working as hard as you can towards something, you can take a little bit more of a backseat with that and say, hey, so I worked hard to get to where I am now, and I have the systems in place to keep going. I want to, instead of trying to make more money and building a bigger thing, I want to be a better friend and family member, right? I will spend more time with my family and my friends and helping them out and pursuing other projects, if so. So you have that option after you get cruising. It doesn't necessarily have to be forever building. And if you are someone who doesn't necessarily want to trade your hard work and time and do that instead of spending time with your friends and family, then you can also know that depending on what you're doing, after you get cruising, after you've put in the initial amount of work, you often do get a choice later on, a different option of being able to take more of a back seat to where you don't have to work as hard as you did back in the day. You still work a little bit, but you spend more time with friends and family, and then you have that choice of what you want to do. I really hope this can help. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, my friend.